the chair of the UAP caucus, member of the House Oversight Committee as well. Congressman Burchett, thanks for being back with us here on the Hill. Appreciate it. Tell us why you decided to do this. Why do you feel this is needed?
Well, I guess I'm the unelected chair. I think it's needed because you just showed the Tic Tac video taken by one of our very brave pilots. And I had one of those pilots not very long ago tell me one of these objects was 14 feet away from his canopy as he was flying. Yet our federal government, many departments tell us they don't exist, yet they're still being funded tens of millions of dollars. They issue redacted reports about UFOs. And our own Pentagon, who has not passed an audit in the history of audits, literally cannot account for over $500 billion. Now we're spending this money on something. We're $35 trillion in debt. We had every 100 days, we had another $1 trillion to our deficit. Look, it's not about little green men or flying saucers. It's what are we spending this dadgum money on? It's ridiculous.
What do you think?
Well, I think there's some members that know some things. I think that's a bunch of balloons right there. But the one prior, the Tic Tac video, if you could hear the audio of the pilots who were chasing it, I think you would think something else. And we have too many reports from too many qualified people, former admirals telling me something's under the water going 200 miles an hour, big as a football field. You know, it's too much. Just tell us what it is. We don't care. It's not going to upset my religious beliefs. I'm still going to believe Jesus died on the cross for me. It's not going to change one bit. All it's going to say is this universe is a lot bigger than we give it credit for. We're one grain of sand on a million beaches. Give us the information. Let us decide.
So you know how Washington works better than I do, Congressman. But for our audience here on NewsNation and those listening on SiriusXM, putting a bill out like you have is one thing. Getting it to the floor for a vote is another. And then getting legislation, obviously, that's, that goes to the Senate needing to pass it, getting it to the president's desk, so on and so forth. Let's start with this. In the House, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, does he view this as serious legislation? Do you think he will let this go through the process?
Well, if it wasn't, let's just see when it gets put on. I've got a commitment from him and Chairman Comer that we'll get a fair hearing and a fair process. Let them vote against it, because if they vote against it, what have they got to hide? They keep saying they don't exist. Well, give us the information then. Tell us what you're spending all these tens of millions of dollars on. That's all I want. You have a couple of power brokers in the House who've killed all this legislation in the past. They don't trust the American public. The arrogance of them is beyond belief, and they're in my own dadgum party. So let's just get it out there. Let's see what happens. I challenge them to vote against it.
You think that are we still having these encounters now, Congressman?
With whatever these objects are? Oh yeah, I get reports very, very often. I've been briefed by pilots. I've had pilots pull me off to the side. I've had former intelligence agents who have confirmed many of my suspicions about this. And the way they do it is they put it off into these corporations that have government contracts that are cost plus, and then we can't FOIA them. We can't ask for a Freedom of Information Act on them. And that's the way they do it. But I just want to know what the government has. Every alphabet agency has. I mean, we've had testimony that they have recovery units. What the heck are they recovering?
We'll leave it there. Congressman Tim Burchett, who has filed the UAP Transparency Act. We'll talk to you again soon, sir. Thank you for the time. Appreciate it.